Matt Bernie, you're taking a look at the DRF Bets race of the day for Friday, May the 31st. Race number 3 out at Santa Anita. 4.5 furlongs on the main track for 2-year-olds. Before we dive into the field, I'd encourage you to head on over to bets.drf.com. That's where you can go to find all the latest and greatest as far as new sign-up offers are concerned for DRF Bets members. Again, bets.drf.com is where you need to go. Let's take a look at the field of 2-year-olds traveling the 4.5 furlongs. You can download free formulator past performances on the Race of the Day page over on drf.com, but this preview is going to be a little bit different, and this is going to be something that you're going to see more frequently going forward. We're going to start doing some stakes previews using the classic PPs, the new DRF Classic PPs. I'm going to go through, show you some of the functionality as we handicap the race. In this instance, it will happen to be for the Race of the Day, but in normal circumstances, it will be a stakes preview for Friday and a stakes preview for Saturday. But this is a good way to get the awareness and get the sort of word out that this is going to be something that you're going to be able to see going forward, and let us know if you like it or dislike it, whatever the case may be. We're going to take them right in post position order though, and again I'm going to show you a bit of the functionality of the new classic PPs over on drf.com. We'll start off with Bamm-Bamm again down on the inside. Things look a little bit different maybe than your standard classic PPs. You're going to note this box over here on the right hand side. You can fill in any kind of notes for the horse that you would like. So for a bunch of first-time starters, a bunch of 2-year-olds, going to have a lot of data, a lot of numbers that fall into this. Take a look at the sire of Bamm-Bamm again. That's Awesome Again, the 2-year-old first-time starters. Awesome Again's runners are 29 for 37, about an 8% strike rate. The dam, her name was Pebble Beach Baby. She was 7 for 31 overall, 0 for 3 as a 2-year-old, 3 for 12 in dirt sprints. She was a stakes winner as a 5-year-old. This is her first full to date. Goes out for Jorge Parabon. Giovanni Franco has the mount. We've talked about it with 2-year-olds, any kind of first-time starter, really, for that matter. Doesn't even matter age. Breaking from the inside is never an easy thing for a horse to do in the afternoon. We'll find out about Bamm-Bamm again. This is a horse that I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on. The number 2 is Next Flight. Goes out for Steve Miotti. Gary Barber owns this 2-year-old gelding. This is a son of Boisterous. Boisterous is first-time starters that are 2-year-olds, 2 for 20. So a small sample size, but 10% thus far. The dam was unraced, and I have Next Flight written in here. This is the name of the horse, but obviously I'm speaking about flight service. She was unraced overall as a race horse. The siblings thus far combined 0 for 11, and they are 0 for 3 as 2-year-olds. So perhaps that's something that you want to take into consideration. And while there will be no formulator facts for this video, I've actually gone through and accumulated some numbers because, again, they're very pertinent for these 2-year-olds, for these first-time starter races, or any of that sort of thing. For what it's worth, Steve Miotti, over the past 4 years with 2-year-old first-time starters out at Santa Anita, 1 for 37, 9 in the money with a 21-cent ROI. This is a horse for me. I'm going to be taking a wait-and-see approach. We move on to the number 3, Fast Enough. And the interesting thing about this horse trained by Rafael Becerra, take a look at this workout right here back on May the 18th. A bullet, 4 furlong work from the gate, and 48 and 1, best of 83 for that clocking. Maybe this horse is going to be upwardly mobile. This is a 2-year-old gelding, a son of Eddington. Eddington's 2-year-old first-time starters. See by these numbers right here, 17 for 167. It's about a 10% strike rate. The dam, Brilliant Melody. She was 7 for 20 overall, 6 for 15 in dirt sprints. So based on the pedigree, there's some reason to believe that maybe this one's going to be able to run fresh out of the box. Take a look. This is the first full by this dam. And some other interesting tools and things that you can use with this situation, with the classic PPs, the new classic PPs. You see that Tiago Pereira has the mount here for Rafael Becerra. I come up here to the top. You see this little button right here. It says statistics. I can click on this. I can go to jockey statistics. Then up here come the jockey stats. And here we go. Tiago Pereira sitting in 4th right now, clipping at about a 15% strike rate. He's 40 for 267 as of the recording of this, which would be on, what is this, Wednesday, May the 29th. But this is obviously a race for May the 31st. You can get all those sorts of numbers and then some. Take a look at the other things that can come up through this statistics box. Trainer stats, the closer looks, any of these sort of things, winning post by position, X, Y, and Z, a number of beautiful things that you can use by utilizing this statistics function here in the new classic PPs. Move on down to Cal's Gem. This is a 2-year-old first-time starter by Calimanco. Calimanco, limited sample size, only 17 times has he had 2-year-old first-time starters. They're 3 for 17 though, so right around a 17.5% strike rate. The Damn Tribal Gem, she was unraced. There is some pedigree here for this horse. This horse is a half to Topaz Time, who was 2 for 15 overall, 1 for 11 in dirt sprint, so maybe that's a little bit of a concern. Half to Gem of a Marina, who was 1 for 2 overall and 1 for 2 in dirt sprints. And you have a pretty live formulator fact here for Luis Mendez, the trainer of Cal's Gem. Past 2 years, 2-year-olds. 4 for 21, 15 in the money though. That to me is a very strong piece. 341 ROI. This is the horse that I'm probably most intrigued with in a race like this. Granted, you don't have much to go by. Folks that are out there in Southern California and perhaps can see some of these horses work and move in the morning, they're going to have a little bit more knowledge than I will in a situation like this. But based on the pedigree, based on some of the numbers, Cal's Gem right now is the horse that I'm probably most intrigued with. We'll see what the price ends up being. Include the Tax is a horse that's sure to take some sort of money and some action here. First time out for Michael McCarthy. Flavian Pratt takes them out. It's a 2-year-old son of includes 2-year-old first-time starters. 37 for 322, about 11.5% strike rate. The Dam, such a pretty girl, 0 for 5 overall, and she was 0 for 3 as a juvenile. So maybe that makes you wonder a little bit about how upwardly mobile this sort of horse is going to be in his first time going out. There have been 4 winning siblings, including a half, this horse being a half to Pretty Perfection, 8 for 27 overall, a multiple stakes winner on grass. But still, there's some class there. 3 for 10 on dirt sprints, so it's not as though Pretty Perfection was incapable of running on different surfaces. Perhaps she did her best running on grass, though. And the siblings overall are 1 for 8 as 2-year-olds thus far. You also take a look at a formulator fact like this for Michael McCarthy. We know McCarthy's a great trainer. Past 5 years, dirt 2-year-old first-time starters in sprint races. 2 for 24, 10 in the money with a 71-cent ROI. With Pratt aboard, you have to assume this horse is going to be something. There is a scenario, though, where I could see ultimately this one improving with distance, with racing experience, and who knows, maybe even a surface change as well. Include the Tax, though, is one that definitely, if you're playing this race on Friday, maybe you want to keep an eye on. Wicked Blue goes out for Vernon Aguayo. Take a look. This is a son of Bluegrass Cat. 2-year-old firsters for Bluegrass Cat. 46 for 331. It's a 14% strike rate. Dr. Karina is the Dam. She was 5 for 22 overall. 5 for 23 overall, 5 for 22 in turf routes. 0 for 1 on dirt. The only sibling thus far is unraced. Based on the workout tab, nothing really to write home about. This is a pretty solid move right here back on April the 27th. This was a half mile from the gate at Los Alamitos in 47 and change. It's going to be an interesting thing to see here. This is a horse for me. I would much rather see a race before I go putting any sort of real serious money into this one. Moving steadily along enough, we'll find out from a fitness standpoint and from a speed standpoint. Really, that's what these races boil down to at 4.5 furlongs. Who can break alertly? Who can get to the front? Because it's very unlikely that you're going to have some giant move from the back of the pack with these babies first out of the box. Project Leader goes out from Marcia Stortz. This is a son of Run Brother Ron. Run Brother Ron, 2-year-old first-time starters, only 2 for 12, 16.5% as far as the win rate is concerned, but again, a very small sample size. Line Leader, the Dam, she was 1 for 7 overall, 1 for 2 as a 2-year-old. Both times, though, that she raced as a juvenile, she was in the exacta, and 1 for 7 in dirt sprints. This is the first full going out for, or coming from, Line Leader. And a little bit of a negative move here, though, for Marcia Stortz over the past 5 years. The first-time starters, 1 for 42, 7 in the money with a 36-cent ROI. Evan Roman takes the mount here. This would be the kind of horse where if you're going to wager on this one, I would suggest you make sure that you do get paid in here. But again, you do have a pretty lively string of works right here back at Los Alamitos. You got a half mile and 46 and 4 from the gate, half and 48 and 1 from the gate, and a half and 48 and 1 from the gate. So who knows? Maybe those are some sort of indications that this one is going to have a little bit of something early on. And the last one we'll talk about, keep in mind, there are a number of also eligibles down here. I'm not going to dive into those. We're only talking about horses in the body of the race as of this recording. The outside runner, Coastline Sermon for Jeff Bondi. Rousing Sermon. There is no data for this new sire. So it's going to be a situation where we're going to have to wait and see. You see, he was by Lucky Pulpit. Coastal Skimming is the Dam of Coastline Sermon. 7 for 21 overall, 2 for 7 as a 2-year-old, 6 for 7 in the money, though, as a juvenile. So there's some positive pieces there. 2 for 9 in dirt sprints, a stakes winner at 3. The Dam has some ability, and she has done some good things. She's thrown some solid runners. 4 winning siblings, 2 for 23 at 2-year-olds combined of those 4 siblings. So give or take 9-10%, somewhere in that ballpark. This horse is 3/4 to Sea Preacher. Sea Preacher was 3 for 25 overall. 0 for 5 as a 2-year-old, 2 for 14 in dirt routes, so perhaps that's giving you a little bit of an inkling that this horse might actually do his best as he stretches out in distance. Jeff Bondi also, these numbers are a little bit peculiar because for a long time, Bondi was just an absolute legend as far as the 2-year-old firsters are concerned. I shouldn't even say firsters, but having the babies ready to go. Now, granted, some of that was happening up in Northern California. For what it's worth, over the past 2 years, 2-year-old first-time starters down at Santa Anita. 1 for 16, 8 in the money with a 61-cent ROI. Something that I do think is a positive, though, for Coastline Sermon. I think Edwin Maldonado's in a beautiful position, breaking from the outside, presuming and assuming that no one else draws into this field. But Coastline Sermon, it's always nice with a firster where there is no sort of concern about a horse to the outside breaking in on them or anything like that. This horse, Coastline Sermon, is probably going to be able to break and kind of find his own stride in a situation like this. Based on the works, they seem a little bit on the slower side leading into a race like this at 4.5. I don't know how that's going to translate, but again, Jeff Bondi has had a history in the past of doing some good things with these 2-year-olds. We'll find out what we get here on Friday afternoon. Some of the other pieces before I actually go through and we button this thing up for the Friday DRF Bets race of the day. Right now we're in only PP mode. I can easily go to news and analysis, though, and I'm going to get the analysis of this race from Brad Free. We can see that Brad likes Fast Enough in this race. We also have some other DRF handicappers listing their selections in here and ultimately what the consensus is. And then the beautiful thing about the new Classic PPs, you can click on wagering and live video. If Santa Anita were running right now and if we had the numbers, the post numbers, the positions for these horses, you could go through and actually input them here. This would go directly into your DRF Bets account. It's as easy as that. You can pull up the live feed here. Beautiful things, vertical wagers, horizontal wagers. You can make them A, B, C's, or tosses using the Steve Chris Ticket Maker method. There's a number of things that you can do using Classic PPs. And again, this is going to be something that will be used in stakes previews going forward, usually one for a Saturday stakes preview and one for a Sunday stakes preview, but wanted to show you that this is what is probably in store going forward for these using this Friday DRF Bets race of the day. My pick in this race, I kind of tip my hand here. I just think Cal's Gem's a little bit interesting. Again, from the training standpoint, the trainer has done very, very well with these types. Again, not a giant sample size, but I think there's some reason to believe from a pedigree standpoint, maybe Cal's Gem at a number. And again, not knowing how they're moving over the track in warm-ups or in workouts and things of that nature. But Cal's Gem, perhaps for a little bit of a lower profile outfit. I'll give Cal's Gem a look in the Friday DRF Bets race of the day, the third out at Santa Anita. You can handicap this race, obviously, with those Formulator Pass performances over on the Race of the Day page, but you can also use the new Classic PPs. And for those of you that like to print your PPs out and then mark them up, the beautiful thing is you come over here, you click print PPs. It's easier said than done, actually getting that out of your mouth. Print PPs, you click on single race, and you're going to get this PDF that pops up right here. You can go through, knock it right out. Prints everything for you right there. It's a beautiful thing. The new Classic PPs over on DRF.com. If you are new to DRF.com, you're new to DRF Bets. All sorts of great deals for new sign-up members. Head on over to bets.drf.com for all the details. Scheduled post time for race number 3 at Santa Anita on Friday afternoon, the Friday DRF Bets race of the day, 5 o'clock Eastern. Good luck.